Okay! Get Warrior Tough. Mental Training 101 with Andrew Wittman and Dutch Coleman on 105.5 The Roar. And now back to Andrew and Dutch.
All right, back at it. Andrew and Dutch. Dutch and Andrew. Hashtag Get Warrior Tough on the Twitter. Go to the website, getwarriortough.com. Get your free ebook. Do it now. All right, Dutch, right before the break, we're talking about how we felt about, we had a question about how, about unpaid overtime. How should I answer it? And I finished up saying, are you a clock puncher, or are you actually there to solve a problem? And are you there to get paid, or are you there to solve a huge problem? And so this goes directly to the CEO of you stuff that we teach, right? If I'm CEO of me and I'm my own boss and I'm in charge of me, the paycheck will follow because I solved a huge problem. And when I'm on the road, right, when I'm speaking to corporations and audiences around the country, I like to use the example of Peyton Manning. And I know we're not supposed to get into sports here, but everyone knows who Peyton Manning is. And I asked this question. No one ever told me no, they didn't know who he was. Is Peyton Manning CEO of him, or is he a clock puncher?
Absolutely CEO of him, without question.
Right. He's like, is anybody telling him he's got to put in more time, or, you better be here at 8 in the morning and not go home till, 5 at night? And no, because he solves huge problems. No one tells that guy what his schedule is, because he solves huge problems. And then he's got the paycheck to follow it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And he's done that throughout the course of his year. This isn't of his career. This isn't something that's new. He isn't Johnny come lately. He's been in that process for as long as we've known him.
Right.
And I heard his dad in an interview, and it apparently dated all the way back to high school. So this guy has had a process since high school. So when people think about his success being based on his talent, I challenge you that it's more based on his process, because a process lasts longer than any talent. He's a 40-year-old man, and we know that talents generally in the NFL don't last around that age. But when it's based in a process and it's steeped deeply in a process, you can extend that level of success in anything.
Right. So, and this guy, he puts in the overtime. And I would say, you said it happened since high school. He's been putting in unpaid overtime. So this is a guy who solves huge problems, and the paycheck followed. If you come into this thing worrying about unpaid overtime, I already know. If you're even asking the question, I already know. You're a clock watcher. Now, on the other side of it, I don't mind taking a day off if I got my work done. If I can get stuff done in 2 hours, I'm not going to sit around to make it look like I've been busy and stay here till 5 o'clock. That's the other side of it, because I'm CEO of me. All right, Dutch, you have anything else on that one before we go on to the next one? That was a pretty good, interesting question, actually.
No, I'm good. Let's keep it moving.
All right, so here's one question. I never got the raise that I was promised. Should I say something? What?
I tell you, when you shouldn't say something when you were never promised a raise, right? So you absolutely should say something if you were promised a raise.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
And quite frankly, I would probably say something even if I wasn't promised a raise, if I think I deserved it. But that's neither here nor there. But yes, you say something. You were promised. There's been an understanding between you and whoever said that you were getting a raise. So this isn't like you're going into some new and dangerous territory. You guys discussed it at some point, and you were promised a raise.
Yeah, I mean, if you were promised, now, I don't know if that means the same thing to you as it means to me. Like, did somebody just mention it? Now, here's the thing, Dutch, because I had a client that said that they said they wanted to transfer them to another city, and they said it like this: if you do a good job, there might be a raise in it, in 6 months or a year. There may be a promotion. That job may come open over that you really want, may come open. They dangled it like a carrot. And that's not a promise.
That's a month. May is a month.
Right. So exactly. If they dangle something, that ain't promising nothing. Okay. And I said, do you get that in writing, that in 6 months that you have that job, then that's a promise. But them just saying, it could happen, and if you do a good job, if there's always a caveat, or they're leaving themselves wiggle room, that ain't a promise.
Absolutely. And you should be focused on doing a great job doing big things anyway, because then you can go back to the first question. And the first question during the first question that we addressed was, why am I working here? Should I even be working here? So when you start solving big problems, you're not just solving big problems for the company. You're solving big problems for yourself. You're becoming better at what you do. Other people are going to take notice that you're solving big problems. And then you're going to become a commodity that other companies want when they're going to start asking for your services. the opportunity to be your customer, and then your job will have an opportunity to either step up to the plate and give you what they promised you, or you're going to be out of there. So it's all about you. It's all about you getting better, you solving big problems, you being great at what you do, and then it goes from there.
Absolutely. All right, so here's a little bit of a curveball, Dutch. This is a little different. It's not a workplace difficult situation. That, hey, I have a 4-year-old that severely lacks confidence. I would say me and my wife are pretty good parents. We laugh and love on her and her little 6-month-old sister all the time. But like since birth, if she doesn't succeed like the first thing, she gives up or starts crying because she can't do it. Now, we try to build her up saying she can do it and to keep trying. She's really smart and outgoing kid, just lacks confidence. Any suggestions would be greatly appreciated. Now, Dutch, I'm gonna defer to you because my kids are older, so I have a process. But you have 3 similar in this age group right now, right? So I want to hear, and you're in the heat of the battle, baby. So I want to kind of defer to your expertise in this one.
It's simple. The person that asked the question already had the answer, but they just have to stay the course. You just have to keep creating opportunities to improve their confidence. Keep creating situations where they get to display for themselves more than anything, because you already know that they're smart. You already know that they're wonderful, that they're beautiful, but you have to create opportunities and an environment that allows them to do things where you have opportunity to then reward them and reinforce those things to make them feel confident, build their confidence, and keep encouraging them. And you have to stay the course because they're very young, and what you're doing is you're building that foundation. You're ingraining, you're putting all this into them, like putting the beans in a cup. You're putting all those things in. You keep putting it in. You keep putting it in. You keep putting it in, and that's going to be their foundation as they begin to grow. From the very beginning, you created an environment of encouragement, of love, of you are great at what you do, and giving them opportunities to show it so they can see for themselves. They'll have those successes that in their mind they'll remember it. So they'll go back to those in their mind whenever they begin to doubt themselves. They'll have those victories that they went through to fall back on. So you pull from that stuff. I pull from that stuff today. If I'm having a difficult situation, I naturally go back in my mind and my history to other victories, similar victories that I've had that make me very confident that I can achieve another victory. So you have to create those victories, help them create those victories so that their memory bank begins to consist of a ton of victories. And there's going to be a few defeats in there, but it's going to be a ton of victories. So you have to engineer those situations because you're building them up. You're creating this entity, and that's going to be built on success and confidence and strength as opposed to defeat and failure. And you got to stay the course. It takes time.
Yeah, and I'll say this, that when my kids were little, right, they're all teenagers now, but when they would start crying for like no reason just to give up, I would not allow that. I would be like Dutch Coleman. I don't allow it, right? But I would start asking them. I'm like, oh, baby, are you hurt? Did you fall down? Do you need to go to the doctor and get stitches and shots? And they'd be like, no. Then why are we crying? So I would not even allow the crying. Oh, you're frustrated. I get you're frustrated. How can we turn that energy into something good? So I would not allow the crying because I walk them down that path. Are you hurt? Do we need to go to the doctor? Do you need to get stitches? No. Do you need to get shots? Because they give you shots before you get stitches, and just kind of help them see that whatever they're crying about and give them perspective. They're not hurt. There's no emergency here. Why are we crying?
And you explain to them, and what you just explained is exactly what I do with my kids. And then after they calm down, I explain to them why the crying is not acceptable. I say, the crying is acceptable when you fall down, when you hurt yourself, when you're in pain, because you scare mommy and daddy, and we think you're in pain, and then we're afraid, and we run, and we thinking you're hurt, and we get out of sorts, and they begin to understand, and they begin to understand that when they need you to run over there because they're hurt, then it's okay to cry. So you're not telling them that crying is unacceptable. You're giving them the times when crying is acceptable. If you don't like something that someone said to you, your brother or sister took a toy from you, that's not acceptable. If Dutch takes a toy, little Dutch, I should say, takes a toy from Jasmine.
Yeah, Big Dutch took a toy, man. He took my big toy.
So then Jasmine begins to cry. I do what you say. Are you okay? Did you fall down? No. Did you hurt? Are you bleeding? I'm looking around her body, like trying to find. I'm lifting her arm. Where are you hurt? Where are you hurt? And she's like looking at me like I'm crazy. And I'm going, you're crying. You're crying. Are you hurt? So she begins to calm down, looking at me like there's something wrong with me.
Right.
And then she realizes why I'm asking these questions. And then I go, oh, you're not hurt. Okay, well, when you were crying, I thought you were hurt because we cry when we're hurt. So what happened? Oh, Dutch took my toy. Oh, so you're not hurt? No. So you don't need to be crying? No. and so they come to those conclusions. You're just taking them down that path. You're leading them down there, and they're realizing in their own little minds that everything's okay, and maybe the next time I don't need to do that. I need to handle it differently. So you never once told them that they're not allowed to cry.
Right.
Saying
you're just asking them, right? But while I'm asking those questions, I'm not telling them they're not allowed to cry. I'm not allowing them to cry. And this is what we do in the Get Warrior Tough process, what we do in the Phalanx. We'll walk you down the path so that you come to the self-realization, and we're not going to enable the crying. I'm not going to put up with bad behavior, but I absolutely love you. You're in a safe place, and I'll walk you down the path so that you realize that we're not crying about that. All right, so here's anything else on that one? Papa Dutch, since you took my big toy?
Nope, that's good. Just stay to the course.
Don't let Dutch take your jet ski or your speedboat, because Dutch takes toys, man. All right, so here's another one. Are you wearing a Star Wars shirt, man?
Yes, absolutely.
You did get an engineering degree, but I just never figured you I thought you were a jock, not a geek, man. What's going on, dude?
I also wear Superman shirts now and Batman shirts. When you got little kids, especially little Dutch, he wears all the superheroes. So I'll wear a superhero shirt, and he'll be like, "Daddy, we have the same shirt. We have the same superhero." So
that's pretty cool.
That to work with him.
All right, you blame it on Dutch, sure. Little Dutch is the reason you're wearing a Star Wars shirt. Do you got an Ewok keychain too, man? What's up with that? What is going on, man? Football season's over. Dutch ain't wearing any sporty gear now. He's wearing superhero stuff in Star Wars. All right, you're not going to start speaking Yoda to me, are you?
That I might.
Oh, okay. All right, here's another one. This is an interesting question. How do I deal with a coworker who has the same job description, and I know they make more money, but they do less work and have fewer responsibilities? Thanks.
This is an age-old question. This is something that's happening in every company in America, and this is a concern, it seems, of every employee in America. There's always somebody that's quote unquote getting something better than them that they don't deserve. We're always focused on the person next to us, and we never consider that maybe in actuality we're doing less. Maybe they're doing more that we're not aware of. Maybe they have some other stuff going on that we're not aware of. But meanwhile, we're focused on them and we're not focused on us. That's the major problem with that, is you're consumed with what, and then you don't even know if it's a fact. Now, there's a number that they're getting paid, but when you say things like they do less than you and all that, those are your truths, right?
Right.
That's not a fact. So now you're becoming emotional and you're reacting on your truth as opposed to facts. Now, again, the fact can be that you found out that they're getting paid more than you, but the rest of that statement, they do far less, or whatever the people come up with, in society beyond that. Well, you can have a number of reasons, but those are usually surrounded in truth, your truth, not facts. So we got to focus on what the facts are, and we got to focus on what we can control, what we can do. Not concerned about what they're making, but maybe concerned about what we're making and our production associated with what we're making. Why is my production not getting me what I want, and how can I increase my production? Not worried about your coworker.
Yeah, it's kind of like, when I was growing up, there were 6 kids in my family. I always got the smallest piece of pie, man. And that's my truth. I'm sticking to it. Yeah, there's a ton of truth in that statement right there. And it is a sand trap to be looking at. And no, but what I'm saying is really true. They all got bigger pieces of pie than me. Then I grow up and I got big, and now I get the biggest piece of pie. My kids, I'll buy a family pack of something, and my kids are like, yeah, it's a family pack of 1 because Dad's going to eat it all himself.
I have that same issue in my house. I eat the whole thing.
Yeah. Now, I know you have the secret stash of Klondike bars, which I didn't know about, in the cold basement, which I didn't want because it was cold. But as soon as you did finally get heat down there, I saw that you were holding out on me and hiding the Klondike bar. See, you didn't think I knew about that, huh? Yeah. I love you, Dutch. Why you getting more Klondike bars than me? I do more stuff than you, man.
The Klondike bars is like the time in that movie In Time.
Yeah.
It's like what would you do for a Klondike bar? How many days
for a Klondike bar? Dutch do some days for a Klondike bar, man. We got to take a break, man. We'll be right back.